time you built schools, you now have started Nakaima Springs Water. Share with us in your own experience those challenges that you're facing as a social entrepreneur, but also some of those challenges around acquiring capital. What is stopping you from moving far, or how have you managed to look for capital?
Thank you very much. You are right that Dr. Long have invested in social enterprises. You remember when I was graduating in 2000, the guest speaker, the chief guest was His Excellency the President of Uganda. One of the statements he made was that there are no more jobs, there are not enough jobs in Uganda. Go and you create your own jobs. For me, I bought that statement, I took it home. Having qualified from my career as a social worker, I had this thinking and an argument that if a doctor can start a clinical hospital, why not a social worker to start an organization that addresses issues? In other words, whereas I went out and started an organization to address issues, to directly answer the question asked by doctor, why do social entrepreneurs like you struggle to accumulate the required capital? I had listed down about six issues why we struggle. First of all, we struggle to raise capital because our ventures are unique. They are not common. Sometimes we invest in ideas, in issues that cannot be easily funded. It takes a lot of hard time to convince. For example, you will agree with me, most of you could have discovered some enterprise here for the first time. If you have known about, like Sewaka for the first time, about high unique products, the mushroom, the oil from soybean and the rest, if you have known about them for the first time, how could you imagine such an entrepreneur to go to a finance or the bank and convince her or him to get funded? So sometimes the reason that's why we struggle to raise capital is because of what we invest in is unique, is uncommon, and can't easily be taken up or absorbed or understood by the prospective investor or funder. Sometimes we struggle to raise capital because the majority of funders look to invest in areas that can bring returns as soon as possible. I remember I remember having gone to some investors, they ask you, you could ask me, now you're investing in water, how long, what will be the payback period? Can you raise the money within 6 months or within 2 years or 1 year? But when you look at our enterprise, we're investing in water, the Nakaima Spring water. To have it paying back, it needs a minimum of 5 years. And there will be very few investors who will be willing to invest in such social enterprises. That's why we struggle to raise money. Sometimes we struggle because most of us who invest in social enterprises, we lack an understanding of how the financial enterprise model works. That's why guys that came in handy worked with Capital Solutions to equip us, to sharpen us, in order to drive our enterprise towards the financial model, in order to be attractive to the willing financiers. But most of us, if you are not supported by Capital Solutions or GIZ or the rest, we may fail to fine-tune to our enterprises to be attractive, and that's why we struggle to raise money. It's very common. There was a president who was saying that Capital Solutions helped them to put their books in order. They now have audited books of accounts, they now have the reports, they now have strategic plans and others. Most of the social enterprises fail to attract funding because the way we operate, we lack documentation, we cannot easily convince the prospective funders. That's why we struggle, because of the insufficient track records, because of you can't be profitable at an early stage. Yes, very many people. I think even if I went to your side, they would want an enterprise that is as profitable as 6 months or 12 months. Yet, like Nakaima Spring Water, I don't see Nakaima Spring Water being profitable in 1 or 2 years, and perhaps it will be after 5 years, or even after having massively invested more than $1 million in order to make it profitable. And also, most funders look for enterprises that have mortgage, that have collateral. Most of us, the student entrepreneurs, we lack collateral to present in order to attract funding. And lastly, the long-term nature of our impact. When we invest, when we are investing in social enterprises, sometimes the impact is long time, it's not attractive. You go, you explain to a funder, and especially if a funder is interested in looking for profit or returns as possible. I also want to go into the challenges that are faced, which are more or less similar to what I've already stated. The key challenge is the issue of balancing financial sustainability and the pursuit of social impact. For example, in our water supply, as much as we may want to make money, generate revenue, but we also want to see our daughters and mothers no longer suffering, walking for longer distances in search of water. We want to see domestic violence ending. We want to see rape and defilement where mothers and girls go lining up for water on boreholes in longer distances ending. So in most cases we are trapped in between. Should we charge more money to generate more money and multiply faster, or should we invest more and then overcome or solve those sort of problems? So that is a key challenge. That is common with social entrepreneurship. There is always a conflict between earning money and creating impact. Also, it is also very difficult to demonstrate impact. Most funders, like the impact funders, they would want to fund you if you can demonstrate impact. But because we invest in areas which are very broad, sometimes we invest like in health, like in education, the health outcomes, the educational outcomes sometimes take long. For instance, when we say now you are investing in education, you are paying education for a child. You will find in order for education to be productive, one must have completed the 7-3-2 kind system, the education system in Uganda, for example. One is spending not less than 10 years to be productive. And then now one will ask, is it worth investing in such an area where the productivity will come after 10 or 15 years? That is also a challenge which we face in social entrepreneurship. Like what Doctor talked about, we are also facing the same problem. Attracting talent. In social enterprises, we can hardly retain quality staff because what we pay is meager. We can't pay competitively. For example, a social enterprise like mine, Nakaima Spring Water, the school I manage, Katarima Secondary School in Matuga, we cannot compete with the for-profit, highly profit-driven companies, enterprise. So you find you have a quality staff, you have built his or her capacity. After 1 or 2 years, he's being manhunted and taken over by any bank or another well-paying enterprise or company. So that is another challenge which we really face within our work. It is also very difficult to expand impact. For example, when I look at my social enterprise, Nakaima Spring Water, we have started in a trading center with a population of around 5,000 people. Whereas we have demand, whereas so many other rural semi-urban cities are calling us to invest, to supply them with water, we cannot reach there because of the limited funding, because of the need. So that is very common with the social enterprises as a key challenge. It can be very difficult to expand. But what I want to assure you is that whereas we have so many hurdles across the board, being a social entrepreneur is rewarding because the moment Sorak, for example, becomes an household name, the moment somebody who is formerly Kyeyune is now called Sorak everywhere, that is satisfying enough to me as a social entrepreneur. Let me end there for the time being. Thank you very much.